you started to have money now? How's that been?
No, no,
Oh,
my first
wait, you still
paycheck
haven't
was
been paid?
just no. I've been paid, but like, my first paycheck was essentially just all like paying back debts that I owed people, and
Mm.
so like, and like pushing down like my credit because I accumulated a small amount of credit card debt. So I just like put my first check essentially. I put like um enough into savings, and then just like started paying down some of my debts. And then the second paycheck is when I'm gonna have like actual money to like play around with.
Started getting a little more. It's bad. It's really bad because in a little over a year, I'm gonna stop having salary. Um, but like the past month since I've been back, I've been hanging out with people more, and it's been basically what I had in Rhode Island, where it's like I've got kind of like a consistent group now I'm hanging out with, and like we've been going to
Yeah.
dinners and stuff more often, like lunches on the weekends. And I'm like, this is bad. I'm getting used to like my lifestyle is turning. It's still not luxurious or like really expensive, but it's like ramping up a little bit. I'm like, I'm kind of worried because now I'm gonna be so accustomed to this by the time that I start school that I might be in a little
Yeah,
bit of trouble.
lifestyle creep definitely is a real thing. I want to go lighter or darker. Anyways, yeah, that'll be tough once you get to that point. You're
But
gonna
we'll
have
figure
to
it out.
start budgeting again.
I mean, I've yeah, because on one hand, the lifestyle creep. On the other hand, like I'm getting up to the point where I mean, I apply for law school in the next 2 months, and like in 2 months, so like it's finally this is the first time since when I was in deployment, I mentioned I was like, yeah, I feel like I'm kind of stuck. I don't really have anything I can be doing right now to make progress. Now I'm like, okay, it's actually happening now. Like the next transition phase is like coming up. So
Mhm.
it actually it is nice to be like, oh, I'm making progress. Same thing with you. It's like, oh, I'm gonna make money again.
Yeah,
Opposite
that
of you,
first
I guess.
paycheck was the first paycheck was really nice. I saw it. I'm just like, oh my god, I haven't seen this much money in like for 2 weeks worth of work. It was equivalent to like working an entire summer when I was younger, like working minimum wage. And now like my part time work, just 2 weeks worth of work part time, so not even like 40 hours total for the full 2 weeks was more than I would make an entire like 5 month period when I was younger. So
Dude,
it's just like absurd. It's absurd to see that number.
I remember one time it was like we had a job when we did lawn care, and it was like $700 job, and we split it 3 ways. And I remember thinking I was like, this is such an absurd amount of money. And like now, money doesn't even. This is gonna sound really just like out of touch to say, but it's true. Like money has kind of lost meaning to me in a way. I'm like, they're just numbers to me now. Like now
Mhm,
that you make like once you're salaried, you make real money, and
mhm.
like I'm I kind of miss the days of when I'd get like $250 from like 2 weeks of hard labor, and I'd be like, "Ooh, like that's what a nice sum, what a
Well,
nice hefty sum."
I can go out to eat a couple times. This is really nice. No, I wonder if that's what happens with like people that are like uber wealthy, where they just never lose that feeling of like, ooh, more money. Yes, I love this. Because like even though I haven't been working as long as you have, I can feel it where it's just like, oh yeah, I just got paid for working. It doesn't feel like like a big treat. It just seems normal.
Yeah, like I mean, it really is that lifestyle creep, right? Like you can see, like whenever we go out to eat or whatever, like I don't have qualms with like, hey, yeah, I got this one, right? Like or like even with buddies here, I'm like, yeah, like I got this one. Like it's like $70 for a meal, yeah, sure, dude, whatever. Like it's like
Yeah,
whereas back in the day, if I spent more than $15 on a meal, I'd be like, ooh, like I can't eat, I guess, for the next week.
that hurts. Like that hurts. No, I did my first. I've noticed my first lifestyle creep. I've always been a water man, unless it was like a part of like a deal for like a restaurant. If it was a sit down restaurant, it's always water and nothing anything else. Um, I've now been getting Diet Cokes. That has been my
Yeah,
lifestyle creep
it's the
so
beginning
far.
of the end. As soon as like I think since I've been working a little longer than you, like I
Mhm.
hit the Coke Zero pretty early. But my recent lifestyle creep, I'd say within the past year, is that like I'm very accustomed to like we'll go out to eat with people and I'll be like, oh, like what are we getting as an appetizer? I never would have asked about an appetizer back in the
Yep.
day.
I've been like my girlfriend now. She always gets appetizers. I'm just like, what is this? What weird fantasy world are we living in where we can afford appetizers? This is
You feel
crazy.
you feel just like Nova rich now. It's just like it, it you feel like part of a different class of society when you buy an appetizer. You're like, oh,
I do. I could.
like a sampler
I,
platter? Like,
and then I get food after this too, and I get a soda. Dude, you're joking. No, I mean it's true because I have entered a new class. I'm still very poor, but like I went from like I don't know. I was making during grad school. I was making $125 a week, and that was enough to like buy groceries and pay rent.
yeah,
And now,
that's
and now I make that in a couple hours.
yeah, my spending has been a little off the charts recently. I bought tickets to Falling in Reverse is coming out to VB. Actually, they're going to Noblesville also. Um,
Oh,
but
when
like end of August, I think. So I got tickets. It's like middle of the week here, like on a Wednesday night.
I
But
I might have to go because Sam's also a big Falling in Reverse fan,
big
so I
Ronnie
might have to.
Radke. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I might have to go, and that's like I don't know. Punk makes up like 70% of my workout playlist.
Falling in Reverse alone is probably a good 10% of my workout playlist. And my workout playlist is like
Hundreds.
27 hours long. So,
Yeah, hundreds of songs.
yeah. So, but yeah, I'm doing that. And then I'm going with a friend from work. And because I was like, originally I was going to ask Dave, and I was like, hey, you want to go to Falling in Reverse? But he's in a class. So I was like, hey, like, I asked a friend from work, I was like, trying to go to Falling in Reverse? And he was like, yeah, like, I kind of like them, whatever. And then we were looking at tickets for the same venue, and they're doing a Breaking Benjamin like 2 weeks later. He was like, I
Mm.
really want to go to that one. I was like, all right, I guess we're going to two concerts. So
Breaking Benjamin's kind of insane. Have they released new music
I don't think so.
in like 15 years?
I mean, also, so I don't know as much. So actually, it's Breaking Benjamin, and their opener is 3 Days Grace, and I actually know 3 Days
Okay.
Grace better than I know Breaking Benjamin. Like I probably know like five or six Breaking Benjamin songs, but I have like a good amount of 3 Days Grace on my gym playlist. But
Yeah.
but it's cool. I'll have like two full. I mean, I also haven't been to a concert in I don't know, maybe pre-COVID. I think pre-COVID was the last time I really went to like a concert I can remember. Um, so I was like, I'll
Well,
treat myself.
get ready for the people.
Yeah, it's gonna, especially at concerts like maybe not bring Benjamin so much, but like Falling in Reverse might be a little crazy. Um, but
That might be a rough crowd.
it's one of those like it's like the Noblesville venue where it's like they've got the pit, which is crazy
Hmm.
expensive, and then like seating back in the back. So we're
Hmm.
in seats, but it'll be cool. Looking forward to that. I,
Hmm.
it is weird though. Now that like I don't drink, like I feel like I'm gonna be kind of weird at a concert as like a non-drink. I feel like I almost have to drink at least like
You don't
a
have
single
to.
drink.
You can just join the straight edge crowd. Just start moshing in the middle of the pit. Just
Yeah,
sneak your way into the pit.
yeah. So those are my plans for the future. I'm going to a new command in 2 weeks, and then um applying to law schools, falling in reverse, and then law school. So trying to have
Nice.
some fun this
That works.
last year before I buckle down and become a productive adult again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Speaking of things that are going on, I'm going on a cruise in 2 weeks, so I
Oh,
might have to do a pod from the cruise ship.
yeah. I'm sure cruise ship Wi-Fi will be great for quality. But
Hey man, it's okay. It's probably better than my home Wi-Fi
where are
out
you
in the
guys leaving
middle of
from?
the country,
Like Florida?
Florida. Yeah.
Is it like Royal Caribbean or something? Or it's one, right?
I mean, we're going down to the Caribbeans, but no, we're doing. It's gonna. We're in the party cruise. We're doing a carnival cruise.
Oh,
We're
see,
doing, we're,
I was thinking, I was like, there's only two I know of. I've been on a Royal Caribbean, and I've heard stories
yeah,
about Carnival. So,
yeah. We're going on the Mardi Gras cruise.
how long a cruise? Like 2 weeks?
It's just a week. Yeah. So it's like I think we leave Friday and then we wake up the next day and like we are in the Caribbean. and we're hanging out.
Have you been on a cruise before?
Never.
So I can only speak to the Royal Caribbean one I went to as a kid, but
Hmm.
like at least as a kid, right? I mean, I think also if you've never been on one, it's kind of the same experience. But like as a kid, it was incredible. Like I was like when we walked into like the food hall or whatever, it was like, oh, it's a buffet, and I was like, oh, this place is just a full all you can eat for the next week.
Yeah.
And like as an
Yeah.
adult, it's like you can. I'm sure you can get like I think I've heard people get like all you can drink packages as well, things like that.
Yeah. So that's what we're planning on doing. Or at least I am. I don't think my parents are, but hopefully this podcast doesn't break into the mainstream here soon. But I might sneak a couple drinks their way. Don't tell anybody. Keep that on the down low. But like the drink packages are like,
Carnival's coming after your ass next week.
I know we're getting sued. Um, they just have intent. They don't have me. They don't have me in the act. They won't catch me. Um, but no, like, but the drink packages are kind of crazy, where it's just like you can have up to 15 drinks a day
That's absurd. If 15
for a
drinks
week.
is an
For,
absurd number of drinks.
and that's what I said. I said I'm just like I will not be getting anywhere close to that. I might, and like it includes like specialty drinks, so like coffees and like specialty teas, and that like is a part of like the drink package. But like if I'm having five coffees and five teas and then five beers throughout the day, that feels like a lot. That feels like that feels like a very large number.
And like yeah, even for someone like of our sizes, like that's a lot of one liquid, two alcohol if you're doing 15
Yeah,
alcoholic beverages. Like
yeah,
honestly, I would have guessed like 10 maybe, like and even 10 seems
yeah.
high. 15 is
Well, back in the
absurd.
glory days, back in undergrad, that would have been no big issue. But like even back in undergrad, if I did that 2 days straight, I don't think I couldn't have done it more than 2 days in a row.
I think like
It
in
just hurts
undergrad I had
it
like
hurts the liver.
I had like 2 days straight where I had more than like 8 or 10 drinks on occasion.
Hmm.
And yeah, I don't think I remember anything from that week. Like I was like that week was just a wash for me.
Yeah.
So
No, I'm just gonna at the very least I'll wait until like the middle of the day. I don't know what I'm gonna do because I still have to like study and stuff because I take boards at the end of July, so I have to like get at least a couple hours of studying in throughout the week. They'll be my morning
on a
routine.
carnival cruise on a drink package, yeah, good luck, buddy.
Yeah, I'm just gonna wake up, grab a coffee, go back to my room, and study for like an hour and a half, and then do whatever I want after that.
That's part of the reason I don't drink anymore is because like it's the same reason I've told people about like why I work out in the mornings or why I do like people think like, "Oh, you're disciplined." I'm like, "No, I know I'm not disciplined. I know if I drank, I would get nothing done ever." Like because I don't have the discipline to be like, "Hey, I'm going to study for a bit and then drink." I'd be like, "Ah, I'm just going to be lazy and then go drink and then be lazy because I've drunk."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, you're definitely more like more hardcore with that. I'm definitely like get all my work done, and then I can have a sweet treat, and that sweet treat is a beer.
Well, I think you're more accustomed to being able to like balance that because I've never been good at I'm only good at like cold turkey or full degenerate. Like I've never
Mhm.
been good at finding good middle ground. That's just never like college was full degenerate for me for the first like 3 years, and then since then it's just been like cold turkey on most of that stuff.
But like even your full degeneracy never really involved drinking that much.
Yeah,
Your
I
full
guess my full
degeneracy was
degenerate was like a normal weekend for
games.
most guys.
Yeah, yeah. Your full degeneracy was like laying down and playing Genshin Impact for 15
All
hours
right,
straight.
okay, so if you're gonna expose that, I'm gonna send this straight to Carnival Cruises customer service hotline.
No, okay, yeah, do it because they're not gonna catch me.
Uh,
I will be drinking all 15 drinks by myself every day.
uh, yeah, maybe we should do a podcast while you're out there when you're 15 drinks deep, and we'll see how that goes. It'll be like our classic podcasts.
Back in the day.
Unintelligible.
Yeah, we should upload the some of the podcasts we couldn't upload, or the ones that are like stuck on YouTube and not on Spotify.
Well, I think YouTube is our main contender now. I think when I was looking at it, like I think most people well, we get more hits on YouTube now, now that we're posting on both than on Spotify.
Yeah,
Um,
which makes sense. I mean, I feel like I can stumble upon just like random podcasts more when I'm going through like shorts or just like I see a cool title with like a cool thumbnail. I'm just like, hell yeah, that's the one.
yeah, it has to be more intentional on Spotify for sure. Like I never really look at. I mean, also it's a product. I think kind of side tangent product of like the radio going away and everyone just using aux now. Like it's hard to convince me to like try some new music or media, like just auditory, because I'm like,
Mhm.
I know I'm gonna just play my playlist. I'm not like even I think you're a little more exploratory with that, like with Spotify
Not
curated.
recently, no. I used to. I don't know. I thought I was, but then I just started getting in the echo chamber of like songs that Spotify would recommend me, and it's just like it's the same. It's the same 50 songs just on repeat.
Yeah, you definitely were more exploratory though. I do remember like I always found new music through like you guys or like through other
Mhm.
people. It's always harder for me to explore. Honestly, the only place I find new media is through advertising. So like I'm actually glad my advertising algorithm is purely just like artists trying to promote their music because
Mhm.
that's like the only way I discover new songs. But
Yeah, that's what my TikTok is right now. I know you've never been like a big TikTok head, but that's like one I go back to like once or twice a week for like 5 minutes. Every single time, it's always recommending me movies or shows to watch. I'll be like, oh, that looks like a good movie with like a good plot. I'll go watch that. Or like it'll be like a song that like up and coming artist is releasing. I'm just like, oh, that's a pretty good song. I'll go add that to the playlist.
the only media that reaches me from TikTok is like once it hits Instagram, like on Reels. Like I was telling Dave, so I mean Dave, he had you know the someone that I used to know somebody that I used to know rip off
Yeah.
anxiety, I think, right? He was like singing that. I was like, "Oh, you're like brain rotted, like from Instagram, you're just singing this song." And then like 2 days ago, for since like 2 days ago, for like a full 48 hours, I had a Pretty Little Baby stuck in my head on repeat, and I just found
Oh no.
myself just humming it, and I was like, "Oh no, dude, it's caught up with me."
Oh no. The brain rot. It's getting to you.
But yeah, what's been going on in the world? We got anything you want to bring up before we get into our little fun exercise?
Do you want to talk about world events first, or do you want to talk about fun fun things first?
I'll let you make the call.
Yeah. Um. uh, yeah. Iran is just like throwing bombs at
Okay, I guess
Israel
that's where we're
now.
going.
I saw those videos and just like, oh my god, World War Three's in. It's very close. But I saw good news. I saw on Twitter um, that Netanyahu um, did reach out to the U.S. And this was like confirmed. He did reach out to the U.S. for like military support, and the U.S. just turned him down for now, which is a good sign. I don't want to. I don't want to be drafted, Dave.
I I mean, I've got my stances. I'm pretty sure I've brought them up before. So again, before I get into this, my views do not reflect anything about the DoD or the DON or anything. They're my own. Um, Now that that's out of the way, I can get into the real shady stuff. Um, I I think I've been pretty clear. I'm very like pro isolationist, right? Like I think the reason why places like Japan and China like generally are lower crime, they've got like high trust societies, things like that. China, you could argue it's the surveillance state, but like Japan, let's talk Japan, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I think
yeah.
like recently it's been getting worse, and the only reason is because Americans have been going over there and stealing stuff and messing everything up, and
Hell yeah.
Marines have been DUIing and killing people. Um, but
Oh,
like,
that's no good. I was gonna
but
say shout out Logan Paul for the original Japan video.
oh yeah, the forest. Um, but I think generally like that's always what I've leaned towards. I'm like, hey, when you stick to your own and you focus on investing in your own country and your own people, it works.
Mhm.
Right, like so I've never been a fan of, and I don't think this is an unpopular opinion even among like the military or even among like super patriots. Like a lot of people, it's probably I'm just gonna randomly guess, probably a 50-50 split between like Team America World Police people and then like leave everyone alone and let's do our own thing.
Yeah.
Um, And I just after seeing how like I have I still have a very small picture grasp of it, like of spending and where the money goes, but I have a little
Hmm.
more than the common person, just seeing it. And we spend such an absurd amount of money on just what I can see, and like
Hmm.
on being in just not just like you can talk about Ukrainian aid or Israeli aid or whatever, like the money we're sending over there. I'm not even talking that. I'm talking the amount of money we spend just having people in other countries. It is
Yeah.
so many billions of dollars that like it would blow everyone's minds if they could like really wrap their minds around how much we spend on that.
I mean, like we know the U.S. Military budget has it
Yeah.
creeped over 800 billion yet?
Yeah, like I think it was 847 billion like
Oh my
last year or
gosh,
something. Like
that's insane. That's so much money.
so I just can't like I get the concept of like protecting like being able to protect ourselves and things like that, but at a certain point I really I think in the past few years the way I've matured because if you were to ask me in like high school, early college, I mean you knew the kind of guy I was. Like I'd be very much like, oh, like American can do no wrong. Like we're doing the right thing by
Hmm.
being in all these countries, being like the policeman. And I think I've just probably done a full 180 on that. Um, where I'm like, I'm starting to see the merits of when everyone says like war is a racket. It's old old rich people sending the young and poor to die, right? Like it's things like that have started to ring a little truer um in my
Yeah.
ears. And I don't know. I mean you got the people who want to go to war, right? You got like infantry operators like who like want to see war. I get it, right? I get it from a male perspective, like that's what you want to do. You want to die in a glorious battle, right? But like from a logical, objective perspective, it's not good. War is not good, just
No,
straight up.
I mean, it's not good for people. It's not good for the citizens of either country participating, but it's good for the economy, right? So it's just like you increase production, you get people back to work, whether that be like fighting for the war, the production for the war, and generally countries that win wars do better afterwards or during.
And that's kind of why I've been so much more, I guess I've romanticized the idea of like war less.
Mhm.
Because just seeing like, I'll start hearing people tell me about like, oh, actually it's these lobbyists are trying to get us to go to war or declare war on Iran because I think like AJ was telling me he was like, yeah, there was these lobbyists trying to get like peanut or like nut companies trying to get us to go to war because it would destabilize competitors and it would drive up their stocks. I'm like, that is absurd. Like that should be front page news for everyone to be like, that's criminal. That should not be allowed. But
Yeah,
it's not. So
it's
late
not.
stage
It's
capitalism
not.
and that whole thing.
So I can't believe like I guess war is such an effective solution to like capitalist countries and like producing more product. It just seems like just do better marketing. I feel like there's other solutions to people's problems outside of war.
I think the thing about like I think Gen Z is I actually do have a lot of hope, right? I think things have been getting worse. I think for the past like 8 years or so. Um,
Hmm.
but I do have like high faith in Gen Z. I think that our generation is like seeing like, hey, we can't buy houses. We can't
Hmm.
support families on single incomes anymore. And I think that's starting to see like, hey, the top 1% owns more wealth than like whatever percent of the middle class, like an absurd amount. Um,
Hmm.
it's like the top 1% owns more wealth than like the entire middle class. I think the stat was. And
Yeah.
I think we're starting to just become kind of waking up to that. So I do have faith that like in 20 years or so, when Gen Z is in more positions of actual influence, that things will turn around. But I think the past 8 years and then the next 10 years
Yeah.
I think it's going to be rough.
Yeah. What's your opinion on like a forced retirement of anybody over the age of, let's say, 68, in like leadership positions?
I think it
Like
should
it's
be like
fine.
yeah, like 60, 65, right? Like I think like I
Yeah.
I mean also we had this discussion the other day, we were chatting about it. Like I think there should be term limits on every politician. I think like
Oh yeah.
because the way the military does
Like
it, right? Like, so you got officers who have influence, right? Officers are, it's set up to where you spend no more than like 2 or 3 years in a position or at a role. So that way, like, you can't be influenced. You can't start building relationships, can't be influenced, can't start building your own
yeah.
personal ties. And like, it works, right? Like, there's issues with it because, every 2 or 3 years, you get a new guy comes in, wants to do something different. So not much progress gets made. But I
Yeah.
think it's a
You
better
create some sort
alternative.
of like yeah. You create like inefficiency by not having people be there for long periods of time, but it also prevents a lot of corruption because no one's around long enough up until you get to like the highest epsilon of people leading. That would be like the O nines, O tens, or O tens a thing.
They are. I think O10s are yeah, O10s are a thing. Yes.
Okay. It's like once you get up there, that becomes a different story. But like 1 through 7, you're not making the biggest changes on the world,
Yeah.
and you're being moved around decently enough. Um, but yeah, it's scary. I don't want to be in World War III. I don't want to be drafted, Dave. I don't want to go defend my life for Israel.
You will die for Israel.
I don't
That
want to
is
die
that
for
is your
Israel.
purpose. I
No,
I
I
I
refuse.
I just think like that is also the thing too. I think our generation's waking up to that, right? Like I think we don't there's definitely far less of a I guess I'd say patriotic drive to be like, hey, like, versus 9/11, right? Like and
Hmm.
GWAT. Whereas like 9/11 GWAT, we're like we're protecting ourselves. This is America saving America. And like our generation's kind of realizing we're like, hey, we're not protecting ourselves. We're protecting Israel. We're protecting Ukraine. Like
Hmm.
it's not our fight.
Yeah,
Is what I think a lot of people are starting to realize, like military and civilian.
yeah, and people are already tired enough of like their tax money going to the funding of the U.S. government, more specifically, like the sending of money to Ukraine and Israel. Like people are already pretty fed up with that. I don't think anybody's like really gung ho about I don't know putting boots on the ground to go attack Iran.
I haven't, yeah, like even the most gung ho people, I haven't heard like real. I mean, I've heard some people be like, I want to go to war and kill. Right? Okay, yeah, like that's you're gonna have those people
They're
all
crazy,
the time.
but
But like,
but they're just crazy people. They're a heavy minority.
yeah, but like the vast majority, even of like military members, are like, hey, I don't want to die for another country. That's not my. That's not what I took an oath for. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I may very well be wrong. This may be recorded in a top 10 biggest fails of the 21st century later, in the World War III documentary. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they may just clip this and be like, "Hey, look at this idiot."
Yeah.
But I've got good faith that things will turn around. I think that's also the nice thing is as I've become more. I think that's the thing, right? Like about being more centrist or being more moderate. Um, Not everything's doomsday. Not everything's the apocalypse. Not
No.
everything's the Book of Revelation. So like it's
No.
it's it's nice to not be on either the extreme left or right, and kind of be like, hey, like things generally work out. Like
Mhm.
our lives are not that affected. We're gonna do the same thing
Yeah.
every day, unless
Yeah.
we get drafted and we die for Israel.
But yeah, yeah. It does get scary when there are like signs. When there are signs of like impending doom.
Yeah, I like I said, I think the next 10 years I have zero ability to predict, and I think we could very well be going to war or nothing could happen. But
Yeah.
hopefully, if we survive the next 10 years, I think things will get better.
Dave, you just have to survive one more year.
Yeah, just one more year. That's all I need.
Nope.
Please, please, Israel, stop. Um, it's
Stop
actually
pissing off the world, please.
it's actually funny now that you bring up spending. I kind of want so I was talking to Dave about this, and H and I are on the same. We were on the same side of and this might turn into a bigger picture, but Dave's basic thing was he was like, he's you know uh kind of born and bred American type, like very. very like USA type, right? And like I'm not saying I'm not, but he is to a greater extent. And he was saying like, oh, I think America in general has like values lives more and has its citizens like wants the best for its citizens or does the best for its citizens. And I think I would have agreed 10 years ago, and I was staunchly against that. I do not hold
Silly.
that
Okay.
belief. So I
Yeah, I mean it's very evident on how much emphasis that we put on international conflicts as opposed to the conflicts that we have within our own country.
yeah, I think like part of what we were discussing was, not to support. I'm not supporting other forms of government. I'm not supporting other foreign governments, but like I was saying, hey, some not everything the U.S. does is like the perfect solution, right? Like I was basically I made the claim that you may say that communism has never been implemented correctly, and um, it's just an ideal, in places like China, Russia. But I would make this claim that a democratic republic has also not been implemented the greatest in the states either. I think like I was like
Mhm.
there's issues on both sides, which is why I've kind of come to terms more with like there's not it's all centrism, everything's centrism. I was like yeah, like, I don't think the claim that we need to spread democracy and we need to kill communism, like I just can't get behind the statement that like only one is right anymore. Like there's issues with both. There's grave issues with both.
Yeah,
And
and it comes down to like personal factors and what you find to be more like appropriate for you in your life. And I generally agree more with like having a capitalist structure, but also having like little hints of like socialism and communism kind of just like spread out because like at the end of the day, like people are people and people deserve like certain like human rights that aren't always afforded to you under like capitalist rule. Um, and like the theory of like socialism and communism, they work in theory, but where it falls apart is where you have like sociopathic and psychopathic leaders that can kind of just derail and shift the power balance.
but
But
I
I
mean
guess
I
that's also the same for capitalism as well. I mean, you get people, you get billionaires. You have like people. I don't like to pick on the guy just because I feel like he goes through a lot. And but like Elon, like he has more money. Like he's got enough money to if you were to make $1 million every single year since like the time that Jesus was born, you would not even be close to the amount of money that Elon Musk currently has.
and that's kind of like what I was getting towards, while tempering exactly how extreme I was saying it, because I have a tendency to do a foot in the door, extreme for a statement. Um, but I was like, basically what you were saying, like sprinkling in elements, like no one is 100% correct. No government is 100% correct. And like that,
Mhm.
some things, like for example, China does, like they will rein in their companies if like, because they control all industry. No industry is
Yeah,
private. So when companies are getting too big or they're having too much influence, they rein it in because they control it. Whereas the US, we have BlackRock buying family homes. We have like every hedge fund like buying up every single asset, like and inflating and playing however they want with the assets. Like they we've let money own the U.S. essentially is what I'm saying. Like
hmm
we've let capitalism go too far, and I think that was kind of my point. It was like I don't think that the statement of one system of government is good and the other one is bad is correct. I just can't see that as a valid statement.
no, no, because once you get to either extreme, both end stage capitalism and end stage communism are both like just detrimental. But like, yeah, if you have like fat, because like what makes America great is like it doesn't really matter who you are or where you came from, you can be successful. And we're like really values hard work and grinding and um, getting you to it makes everything like the internal locus of control where everything your destiny is dependent on you and how hard you want to work, which is something that like I inherently believe like if you work hard you should be rewarded more.
So
But at some point, you get people and companies that are willing to rip off other people or rip off other companies and play unfair, and that's just not fun. That's not fun to deal with.
I think and this may actually get into our, so for our listeners, we're planning on doing would you rather's. This may get into would you rather. It is a would you rather. But it plays into the communism versus capitalism and the locus of control you were talking about. Basically, what it boils down to, I think, when I was discussing the things that China does correctly, that I think the U.S. doesn't,
Mhm.
um, was like the question of safety versus freedom. Well, like that's always like, you got places like Australia, China, that it's far safer than the U.S. in terms of like violent crime, right? Like, but it's because it's a pure surveillance state, and like you will be
Yeah,
executed for committing crimes. So,
yeah.
so my
Like
stance.
like China's not great. China's not a great example for that because like yeah, their crime is low because like if I don't know if it's a three strike you're out rule, but it's something very close to that where if you commit multiple crimes, even if they're like petty or you like get into an argument or if it's um like a random confrontation or you get slightly aggressive with somebody and you're caught and you're thrown in jail, you do that a couple times, you die. Even if they tend to be like mostly harmless in the end of things, you lose your life.
Is that true? I know they have like this is not me. This is genuinely me wondering.
Yeah.
I know they have loosened like standards for death penalty, right? And we've had the discussion on death penalty and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
value of evidence and actual conviction, but I I know they have a looser standard on that. Like for example, like drug possession, um,
Hmm.
and certain white collar crime like fraud is like death penalty.
Hmm.
I don't know if I've heard
This is
about the more like petty stuff.
this is anecdotal. This is coming from someone that does a lot of world traveling, and this individual like traveled to China for some event, and he was with like a bunch of different people, and they had like security there because they were with like some relatively like famous people, and he was told that the biggest insult that you could do in China, or like more specifically, the place they were at, was to what was it? It was to show disrespect to somebody in an aggressive way. So the analogy that he used was like shaking your fist at somebody, and like being angry at them was like a big insult. Because if it carries any further than that, he was told that it was like if you get caught and get thrown in jail, it's basically a slap on the wrist. You're in jail for a couple days or a week, and then you go back. And then if you do that two or three more times after that, then you're executed.
I guess
I don't know how true that is. That's very anecdotal, and that was his very specific perspective.
so. This is me somewhat playing devil's advocate and somewhat actually taking my stance on it. But like,
Mhm.
what do you think? Or at some rate, like, are those terrible things, right? Like if it's because it's not like a just because you show disrespect you get executed, right? It's like a hey, this is not okay. Like we have things like that in in the States too. For example, like certain kinds of hate speech or things like that, right? Like, I mean, it's not death penalty. Like there are things that as a civil society we've been like, we don't like that, right? Like we've like
Mhm.
agreed not to do that. I feel like them having stricter rules or certain rules, I I don't know if I'd say that's an inherent negative. Right? Because at the end of the day, like
Yeah.
you've controlled that. Like for example, if you're like aggression is a punishable offense, a fine or jail, and then multiple times, that's when they're removed from society or like death penalty or life like imprisonment, things like that. Like right, like obviously that's an extreme on those punishments, but
Hmm.
like you get, I'll play devil's advocate on like the U.S. side, right? You've got some guy who has had multiple domestic violence calls made to his residence. He's been threatening his spouse or his partner, and both genders, just, just throwing that out there. But like
Hmm.
he's been threatening them. Maybe a little bit of physical escalation, but like no charges. Because they can't really make anything stick. It's not battery, anything like that. But the chances that those altercations end up in like a fatal incident, pretty high. Like typically pretty high. Um, so what's your stance on that? Because these are repeat offenders. They've shown this repeated, uh, I guess, action that we've decided to be
Yeah.
unsuitable for a civil society. but we
Yeah.
can't do anything because they haven't actually committed the crime yet, and then they kill
I'm
someone.
gonna I'm gonna go with innocent until proven guilty.
But like when they're proven guilty, when they kill their spouse, it's too late for that person, right? Like it's too late for that victim. And
Yeah.
I don't know the exact stats on that, but like I've heard, and this is anecdotally, but like I've heard countless stories of whether it be cops or judges or people like that, like first responders talking about like, yeah, we've caught the guy before doing this. We couldn't do anything to
Yeah.
him, and then he ended up killing his spouse. Right? Like, and
Yeah.
so my contention, I guess, from a devil's advocate and my side is it really worse to stop that, like stop that lead up behavior, that what do they call like gateway behavior, I guess? Is it really worse to stop that
Sure.
gateway
Sure.
behavior before it turns into actual violent crime and death? Like in China, where there's pretty much no like there's significantly less homicide and murder. Is it really worse to stop that early than to allow it until and maybe the chance that they don't commit that crime?
Maybe there's like stricter punishments. So like if you get called for domestic abuse and let's say you get a slap on the wrist the first time, and then as soon as it's called in again, then you're removed from the home for a certain amount of time, and then the spouse that was being abused and wants to get away has the opportunity to do so. Like I feel like increased jail time would be a good solution, but maybe not death.
Maybe not death, but like I think if you've like I don't know, if you've assaulted people like 3 or 4 times, right? Like unprovoked assault or assault and battery, I feel like at a certain
Yeah.
point you are no longer fit to be in our society. Right? Like I'm not saying death penalty, but like you are no longer judged. I My statement is you are no longer judged to be like suitable for civil society.
Yeah. The problem with doing that in the United States is that like we're because we aren't an open surveillance state, it would be very hard to convict those people. But I guess if you had like very clear reports and all the evidence and like video footage of the person just assaulting people blindly and randomly, then stricter punishments might be appropriate. I don't know. I'm pretty anti-death penalty, so that's just me.
So so let's not talk from like a death penalty. Let's just talk, I guess, extrapolate out to the safety versus freedom, right? Like so
Mhm.
my stance has always been like I'm a gun guy. I do like owning guns. I think it's a necessity in the States to own a gun. I really do.
Mhm.
But I think if I were to be in a country like Japan, for example, where like you can't own a gun, but like I wouldn't really feel a need to because there's with the high trust society, there's essentially like no violent crime. Um,
Mhm.
and like murder and homicide are pretty much negligible.
Mhm.
I would be willing to sacrifice like I wouldn't see that as an impingement on my freedom to like own a gun and defend myself if that problem was was solved by the government in a way, right? Like I in the States, I'm very much a believer in like I'm not going to wait on the cops to show up 30 minutes later. I need to be able to protect myself and my family now.
Yeah.
But in a society where that's not really needed because there's instant governmental response and crackdown on violent criminals,
Mhm.
I guess my stance is I think at the end of the day, in the States, I stand for freedom over safety, but I think it's because our culture is in a bad spot.
Mhm.
Um, but in a place with like a better culture designed, but maybe it's forged by the government. I think that I'd probably lean more on the safety versus freedom, right? Because in my
Mhm.
eyes, I care less about being able to say what I want to say than worrying about getting shot in my own home.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair because that's a more pressing issue for you currently.
Yeah, and I guess it could be the same thing of like some people will say, I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees, kind of thing, right? Like and it's a
Mhm.
fun statement. I like it, and it's hard. It's a hard statement. It's a cool statement,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like
Can't deny it. It's just cool.
but like it's also hard to. I was asking, my buddy. I was like, okay, well, what about your family, right? Like, would you rather them be kind of restricted on what they can say about the government, but be safe, or like be in fear and they have to provide for their own safety against violent threats, but they can say what they want and post on social media.
Yeah. I don't know, it feels very un-American to support like not being able to speak out against your country because that's what we're founded on. We were founded on like the disagreement that we were having with the English at the time, and because we were having disagreements, whether that be through like taxes or like what we were saying against the country that was controlling us from thousands of miles away. It just feels very anti-American to have the opposing view, to be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to live life and not going to have the complete freedom of speech to say what I want. Because like when bad things start to happen and the government's the root cause for those bad things, you want to say it. It has to get out there.
And I guess I'm talking more of a I guess my argument is from the merits of like an idealism, right? It's more of the ideal of it. I don't think there's any way it could be realistically implemented in a good way,
Mm.
just by the nature of corruption and human nature. But I think I'm starting to come to terms more with like, okay, the ideal of a surveillance state and like, complete governmental control and complete safety because of that. I think the ideal is fine for me, right? But like, obviously, in practice, you get one corrupt guy going in, controlling the government, and then like being greedy and doing selfish things, then yeah, you start to have that issue. So I'm arguing more for like I'm starting to see the merits of like why I guess I start to see the side of like why people say okay, communism is good, but it's never been implemented correctly. I guess I can like
Yeah,
start to see a little bit of like where they're coming from on that.
yeah, like it makes sense. You want everybody to be given like certain rights, and you want everybody to be like working and like a functional part of society. Everybody goes in, they do their work, they get paid, and they get paid enough to do what they want to do. Um, but yeah, it does seem nice. It seems a little bit more stress free. But then like the human desire for like hope for more kind of goes away.
Yeah, I mean, there's always the argument of like so. So I started reading again. Really, that's something I've been trying to do a lot more in preparation for law
Mhm.
school. At least like 30 minutes every day. Um, and I've started reading 12 Rules for Life again. It's kind of tough. I won't say it because like he's been kind of Peterson's been kind of getting clowned, a little rightfully so on the internet recently. Um,
Yeah, it's fair. Fair
but like
clowning.
but there was a portion where I was reading yesterday where I was like, yeah, like we do need challenge and struggle and things like that. Otherwise, our existence is meaningless and we become just weak and impotent. And I
Hmm.
do think that there is an argument for freedom in that way, right? Because like if we have the government control everything for us and we get fed, the government feeds us and it clothes us and keeps all the bad things at bay, then we are weaker for it. So
Yeah,
like
as an individual in the communities that you're part of, you are weaker. Um, but yeah, so capitalism, communism, which one's right? Neither. We're just
neither.
we're fence sitters. That's what
Maybe
we're.
maybe maybe that's why we haven't blown up. It's because we're just not inflammatory. It's because I think
No,
as soon as I think the best shot we had was when I was inflammatory and you were playing devil's advocate. I think now that we like I've chilled out and then you don't have a devil's advocate to play as much. No one
no.
wants to listen to like people who
You're just
kind of see nuance.
you're just agreeing to me now. You're just agreeing with everything that I say, and I'm agreeing with everything that you say. And it's not fun. Okay, let's get inflammatory. Um, okay, what's your opinion on the Trump and Elon breakup?
I didn't pay much attention to that. I think it's one of those things where um buddy AJ put it in a good way. It's really funny, right? Like it's funny to see like the most powerful person on the planet, and then two,
Mhm.
arguably number two because of just economic influence.
Well, yeah.
It's funny to see how like some of the most powerful people on the planet arguing like schoolgirls on the internet, but it's also terrifying. Right? It should be
Yeah,
terrifying to everyone watching it. Like even if you're making memes and joking about it, like we do, like I'm still scared. I hate seeing that. That's not, or like seeing like I did see a post. I guess it was like Iran's military. They were like tweeting about like they were tweeting all these quotes about attacking Israel, and I was like, it's kind of funny to see that like declarations of war are made on Twitter now,
yeah.
but that should terrify you. That like
So
this
it
is the
turns
world we're
out
living in.
the that Twitter page is not the official Iranian military page.
Oh,
Yeah, it's somebody that has like enough inside knowledge to get those videos pretty quickly, but it is not the official page. But it's still funny. It's
it's
still
still
funny.
funny, but like,
Like
yeah, like the,
what they said the other day. I'm gonna pull it up. They had a good line. But keep
but
talking.
like, yeah, like the Trump and Elon one, I'm like, it's funny to see, but like, I do think ever since 2016, that's when the shift happened of like now the level of professionalism and just civility in any kind of not just political discourse, but any kind of discourse and like argument is zero
Hmm.
now. Like that's gone out the window. There's no way to have
Yeah.
it's and you know blame lies on both sides. I think on the side of the left, you know, it's a lot of the calling the right fascists and Nazis and things like that. And on the side of the
Hmm.
right, the blame lies on them because you know it's videos like Ben Shapiro destroys SJW 20-minute compilation, right? Like so like you've got this culture of like, hey, we need to destroy the other side completely and embarrass them in an open forum and put it on the internet for
Yeah.
everyone to see forever.
We need to eradicate them. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. I think it's all cringe. I think more people have stuff in common than they realize. I don't know. I mean, it's like I just feel like there's a larger class divide than there is like a cultural divide. And people like within the same class should not be arguing nearly as much as we are because we all have the same struggles because we don't have the ability to get ourselves to the next step. And all of this like what feels like infighting seems meaningless. Like it feels like we're being distracted by something that we should be focused on. Something
So
else that we should be focused on.
so this might get me Boeinged, uh, but
Oh no.
like I see a lot of I mean it's commonly posted out there. It's like open source info, but like a lot of people are starting to make connections of like between when class movements start showing up, they're like, hey, like Occupy Wall Street, things like that. Like,
Hmm.
for example, race relations were far better in the 90s and like 2000s than they are now, like bar none.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, but as soon as like Occupy Wall Street started becoming a thing, people started being like, hey, like why do billionaires get tax breaks and why are they controlling Congress and things like that? Like someone, it was actually terrifying, like the amount of connections they made and like how you can see basically instantaneously after some level of class awareness, you know, from the middle class, like the lower class, like they start seeing um, the impacts that the 1% has on the rest of the world.
Hmm.
As soon as that
Hmm.
starts happening, there's boom, race, some race issue, boom,
Yeah.
some protester that turns violent, and like it's I don't think it's crazy to say. I don't think it's a taboo thing to say or even conspiracy. I think it's pretty common belief that it's manufactured, right? Like I think a lot of
Yeah.
our infighting, I think the vast majority of infighting is manufactured and for a purpose. It's meant to protect us from, not protect us, protect
Protect
protect the
them.
1%, protect them from everyone else waking up,
Mhm.
essentially.
Well, hell, even the 1%, like it's like the 0.1% because 1% of people are just like, what's what's like the 1%? It's like anybody making over like 125K is in the 1%.
Oh, so that's actually a lot of people. So
Yeah,
0.1%, I guess would be
yeah.
what we're talking about.
We're talking like people that have more money than like doctor money. So like anything like over half a mil a year.
Talking, yeah, it's like basically C-suite and Fortune 500s essentially and up.
Yeah,
But
people that have actual because like even if you're making $500,000 a year, you're not making like you're not making federal changes. You don't have enough power to like make changes within your state. You have enough power to like have a really nice house and maybe have multiple cars.
yeah,
And
you
you can
really
go on
don't even
vacation
have
multiple times a year.
like you were saying, you really don't even have like state level political influence at that rate.
No, no, no. You've got enough power to like have cool, nice things, But like those cool, nice things don't always make your life better. You can afford first class. You can afford the nice American Express platinum card.
That was the argument I made with Dave when he was saying like, oh, I think generally the government has the best interests of Americans at heart. I was like, one, I don't even think 50% of the U.S. would agree with you. Um,
No.
two, like the statement I kind of made was I was like, okay, you can say that anyone has the potential to be elected into a position of power, right? In theory, yes, everyone legally has that right. Um, but how much easier is it, or how difficult is it for someone with zero like financial standing or connections to get elected, to have enough money to campaign, to have the free time to go campaign,
Hmm.
to make these connections and get into that position of power? Like, I'm not arguing for equity because obviously we all start from different places and it's just a nature of
Hmm.
existing. But like, that's that is how it is, right? Like, there is not quality in people's influence on the world. It's just not how
Yeah.
it is.
I mean, like a fun thought experiment is just be like, okay, how many people that ran for president were like multimillionaires when they were running? An easier question would be how many are not?
Yeah,
The number is going to be very few. It's going to be very small, if any.
it's just depressing. It's really just a depressing time to live in. I I
It's
think,
like it is, but it isn't. Like at the same time, it's just like I'm sitting here, I'm talking to you, I'm in a pretty cool apartment. We're using the internet, we can play games. Like I've got enough money to like drive my car around and go on a vacation if I wanted to. It's like we were all doom and gloom, but life really isn't that bad, and it can always be worse.
but I think it's the contention that like for the first time we're on like a downward trend, right? Like you got it with things like intelligence, like IQ for example was like, oh, we're hitting the first downward trend ever. Um,
Yeah.
things like I would make the claim that life was better 10 years ago than it is now, right? Because yes, we have more technology, things like that, but I don't think that technology is beneficial. We've got social media, we've got company tracking, like marketing to people. Like I think like 10 years ago was a better time to live than now.
Yeah.
You could
And I
afford a
think
house, you could raise a family. You can't really do that on a single income anymore.
no, no, you can't. Uh, yeah, so, like single income. Yeah, back in the 10 years ago, especially like after it recovered from the last recession and the crash of '08, it was very manageable. Like if I had the salary that I have now back 10 years ago, I would be like the power of my dollar would be a lot more would be a lot higher. Like my purchasing power would be a lot higher. I could support a family with my salary if I wanted to back then. And like now, like I could do it, but it would be like really, really hard. I'd have to budget super hard.
Your quality of life per dollar is significantly reduced compared to 10
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah. Crazy work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Drink that for us, good boy.
Thanks, buddy.
No problem.
All right.
Um,
Enough of doom and gloom. You ready for some fun would you rathers?
yeah. Okay. Keeping it kind of topical. Would you rather be, if you had to switch roles with yourself with a different body, with a different person, would you rather be Trump, the president of the United States, the most powerful man in the world, or would you rather be Elon, the richest man in the world that owns like five different very large companies?
So so are we saying like we would have our mind basically implanted in their body, like we would be us, with our ability to, we can impact change, like we can do exactly what we want, or like are we kind of, is it basically our mind is now implanted in their body, like living their life?
Yes. Yes.
Hmm. That's actually a really tough question. Like I was thinking, I was like, okay, Elon was the first option, right? I was like, it'd be fun to have
Yeah,
money.
yeah.
It'd be fun to have that much money.
But he works very hard. This man is consistently working
Okay,
like 100-hour
he
weeks.
works very hard, but like I feel like if you have that much money, you could just not. I could just be like, all right, I quit. I'm gonna just use my money for this month. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that I don't know. I think that while I would honestly probably lean Trump just because I'm like, oh, like if I was a president, I could actually impact like certain changes I would want to see in the world, things like that. I don't know if I could. Is this for the rest of my life?
Yeah.
See, I don't know if I could like just live with that level of like the level of hate he. I guess Elon also gets a lot of hate now, so it's not that
What
bad.
if you just became Trump? What if you just became Trump and you got really jacked?
Oh, there's an idea. I'm like, all right. I'm like, all right. I'm gonna take, here's my list of executive orders. Implement those. I'll be back in 6 months, and then just cut and just be shredded. That would be fun. But I feel like also like Trump is, what is he, mid 60s?
No, he's 80, dude.
Trump, no. Is
Yeah,
he?
he's
I would have
80.
guessed 70 something.
Or he's like 79 or something like
Because
that.
actually, yeah, it was just his
Like
birthday
he
or
just
something,
had his
right?
birthday.
Yeah,
Yeah. How old is he? 79?
79. Okay. Well, how long? Yeah, like that's. I'd be giving up a lot of my life at that rate. Um, Elon is 53. Honestly, I
Let's say they were the same age. Let's say they're
okay.
both 53.
I feel like I'd go Trump. I feel like I have more like yeah, having money's fun, but it's one of those things where like me and you both recognize the limits of hedonism and
I'm just, I'm going to put it this way. If Biden could be the president, I think I can handle it. I think I could do it.
yeah, like the
There's
responsibilities,
enough
yes.
there's yeah, the responsibilities like there, but there's enough people around you to make sure that the planet's just not going to blow up. And I think I don't need as many naps as Biden does.
Well, I feel like I have some idea, some very limited idea of what it's like at the upper echelons because in the military, like commanding officers, like, people in positions like that, and
Hmm.
obviously extrapolated to a much higher extent the president, everyone brings you all the information. Right, like you're not the one digging for information on these decisions. Like they're bringing you all, like you're really just the decision maker at the end of the day. So I feel
Yeah.
like it's not that hard because like you're presented with all like the information you, or if you're
We
not,
were we were just talking about how much of a fence setter we are. We can't make decisions. That's our biggest problem.
oh, I did, I did say so. So I was on a date like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, hey, by the way, just so you know, like I don't make decisions. I'm like,
Hmm.
you're good. Like it's like if this is gonna be a thing, like you're gonna have to make every decision ever
Hmm.
because I hate making decisions. Like even when oh, what was his name?
Norton.
Norton.
Oh,
Hold him up. Hold him up so everyone
I
can
will.
see.
Hold up. Once he gets more comfortable.
Oh, he's good. That's a
Yeah,
good
he's
boy.
chilling.
He's a good boy. I
Here,
like that.
I'll pan the camera down. Yeah.
Nice. Now we have a good. We've got a little mascot now. This
We
should blow
do.
up our views because you saw those videos like Sam Sulek as soon as he brought on his cat.
Yeah.
Those went viral. So we just needed a cat.
This is what we need. We need the cat. We need the cat in the thumbnail.
But I think I would choose. I mean, Elon has just as many decisions, right? Like business side, and I feel like I'm as much as I hate politics, I feel like I would hate the business side more in industry. So I would rather like be able to impact like change and like do the things I want in government. So
Hmm.
I would choose Trump. Both get hate. Both get enough hate now. I'd be living with hate for the rest of my life anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard. I don't think I need that much power. I just like the idea of having essentially infinite money to do whatever I want.
So I'd argue that as Trump though, like when you're in that position, you don't need the money. You have like I'm the president, or in the future I was the president. You can kind of do whatever you want as well. I'd
That's
argue
true.
like that position buys you the same amount of opportunities and influence as money does.
Oh yeah, the life post presidency has got to be awesome.
Yeah, you have Secret Service just
Like
taking care of you for the rest of your life. You just do whatever you want for the rest of your life.
yeah, or if you're like Obama, just go in, give a speech somewhere, get paid $100,000, leave. Do, just go into hiding for a couple months and do that on repeat.
Yeah, I would say Trump. Are you saying Elon or
I'll probably. Here's the thing. I don't think I can do what Elon does, but I think I can do what Joe Biden did.
Yeah.
I think I could be a really bad functioning president. I think I could handle that.
I'd argue that being the president would for sure be easier than being a CEO. Like, let alone a CEO of multiple companies like Elon.
Multiple billion-dollar companies, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll ask let's see my question. Um, I guess I'll ask the one that I guess maybe a little more on brand. It's like about legacy. So would
Uh-huh.
you rather be like completely incompetent, but like you're basically so good socially. So you can't do anything. You'll never succeed at your job at anything, but you're so good socially that like you can kind of get by. And like generally people are like, "Oh, like, he's really bad at his job, but like he's like such a good dude that like you kind of just get
He's
by."
so a personality hire.
Yeah, personality hire or like you you basically understand everything that you ever try to pursue. Like you are just a
Mhm.
natural just genius. But you completely lack any skills to be able to communicate to anyone. Like as in like you you are so socially afraid you can't talk to anyone. And also you can't write to people. That I got around that loophole. So you
Yeah.
like well for sure like your accomplishments will never be known.
Oh, dude, give me the personality hire for sure. 110%. Give me the personality hire.
Yeah,
And I
I
say this because I say this because it's like you're still able to work. You're not very good at what you do, but the people around you also know that you're not good at what you do, so they don't expect anything from you. You're just there
oh
to have a good time.
oh no 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 you're not you're not just not very good at what you do. You are like actively detrimental to the team. Like you are like people are like, "Oh, I really didn't want to be with Luke, but like I guess he's fun to talk to." Like,
We can grab beers after. We can
yeah.
grab beers after. He's
Yeah,
wonderful.
they're gonna need it after working with you,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah, I
No,
think
that's
I'd choose the
perfectly
same.
fine. I would choose that because I don't know, having all of the intelligence, but then like having no way to communicate your intelligence to anybody. So that means any project that you would be doing would be on your own. You'd kind of be like, oh, who would you be like? There's got to be like a fictional character. Like you'd almost be like L
Yeah,
from Death Note,
I was gonna say Rain
or just
Man,
kind of,
but
or you'd be kind of like Rain Man too. I don't know. What does Rain Man do? Rain Man just gets really good at gambling.
yeah, I guess
That
you
would
could.
be kind of cool. That would actually be kind of cool. You're just sitting around, you're just gambling all the time. You can like predict the odds. So it's just like instead of it being like a 60% chance or 40% chance that you win at any game, it's like 80%. If you lose every now and again, but more often than not, you're winning.
I mean, it's basically like half those people on sometimes I'm sure you've seen it'll come on TV or see clips of the was it like international world poker like championship
Yeah.
basically like world of poker
Yeah.
like those people with the sunglasses on and their noise cancellation on like they're basically the same thing. They're super competent but have zero social skills. So
Yeah,
you
dude,
just be like one
actually,
of
I take
those.
that back. If I was just a gambler, a degenerate gambler that was always winning, just go in, play roulette, put $1 million on black, boom.
Is that what you'd choose? Gambling? Or you think you'd just still choose the social one?
I think I'd still choose the social one. It's pretty like low risk. Like you just have a job. You're the personality hire.
Yeah, I don't know,
And
because
then
part of
eventually you stay there long enough, and they eventually hire you
I mean,
or promote you even.
it's kind of hard for me because I feel like I would honestly I might lean a little bit more towards like the just competence because like I like, being social and having success, but at the same time, I hate being incompetent. Like that's like such a pet peeve of mine. Like one for others, but two,
Yeah,
like even like me, it's like I hate being like no thinking like I don't know how to do my job. And I feel like if
yeah.
that was like a constant, maybe I'd adapt. Maybe like ignorance is bliss, and maybe I'd adapt and just be like, all right, this is how it is. But I don't know. I feel like that
No,
would
I
weigh on
mean
me.
maybe if you were in a like you were so incompetent where you just thought you were cooking up like masterpieces every single day, and but like nobody just tells you that you're actively fucking up the company. You're basically just like you're the nepo baby.
Yeah,
Like you're just around long enough, but you don't know anything.
I guess true incompetence would be no like would be the lack of self-awareness that you're incompetent.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
yeah, you know what? Maybe I will choose that. It's not
Yeah,
bad.
maybe you're absolutely cooking every day. Or that's what you think.
All right, I have do you want to go? You have one?
Yeah, sure. Let me pull up my note
Are you
here.
allergic to cats? I kn-
Yes.
okay. I'm severely, as you know, but I stomach it because I like cats.
Uh, all right. I think this one might be a pretty easy one for you to answer. Would you rather be deeply understood by one person or be liked by thousands?
Yeah, I mean, I, does that imply like that no one will truly deeply understand me if I choose the second one? Is that the implication?
Yeah, the implication is that like you have friends, but you don't have any best friends.
Yeah, I think for me, and I'd imagine you, it'd be a pretty simple,
One,
straightforward.
one is okay. Another scenario is one you're a TikTok star and you're making tons of money, but through your TikTok stardom, you have lost everybody like meaningful in your life. Or the second one is just you're a loner that was able to make one really good friend.
Well, I feel like the second one is already my life, and I'm kind of okay with that. So I I feel like I don't know if there's a situation where I wouldn't choose the second one. You know, like the no close like the I don't think there's anything that could get me to choose like the having no close connections option because like I'm so much in my brain all the time that like if I didn't have like one person to like at least have some insight into how my jacked up brain works, I would go crazy. Like if I was a TikTok star, like I'd be like, you
And
know,
like,
I'll have go ahead.
and you would have the opportunity as the TikTok star. You would have still the opportunity to discuss your thoughts and feelings. Just the response that you would get back would be like, "Damn, that sucks, bro," and then nothing else.
Yeah, I feel like that's just so vapid and empty. I could never like you'd just be a streamer. You'd just be a streamer, like where
Yeah,
everyone thinks they know you, and then you're just depressed. You're just so deeply depressed all the time.
you're so deep. Yeah, but you're rich and you have money and you have star power and you
Would
have
you?
influence.
Are you telling me you'd want to be rich, Luke? Are you telling me you'd sacrifice me to the elder gods to gain TikTok stardom?
It's over for you, Dave. You're being sacrificed. No, I'm joking. No, I would. I don't know. I don't like to be famous. I think that's too much pressure. I don't think I would ever like that.
I think that's kind of what it comes down to. Is like, I mean, 10 years ago, I would have probably said the same answer as now, but like it would have been a
Mhm.
like a more difficult decision. You know, like being younger, you kind of you know when we were coming up, you had the YouTube stars, you
Mhm.
had all like those kinds of celebrities, but like I think one maturing and then being like, oh, I'm not really that into fame, but also two, like seeing how empty some of those people's lives are, you know, like the TikTok stars, the streamers, like just you can tell by like, you know, I'll see a clip of them talking and I'm like, what? Like your life is kind of empty. Like that's really sad, honestly. You know, like I
Yeah.
like it's now something that like not only is it like I don't think it's something I want, I feel like it's something I actively wouldn't want. Like
Yeah.
because I'll see videos of I get clips of like Speed will pop up. And like honestly, like
Oh
the
yeah.
clips of him, I'm like, oh, like he actually seems like a nice guy. Like he actually seems like a pretty genuine, like nice guy. But like I'll see
Mhm.
like the videos of like him around other people, and it's like just you get just hangers on like trying to like capitalize off your fame or your wealth like all the time, and like
Mhm.
you can never. I feel like I would never be able to trust someone's intentions if I was in that position. You know, like you.
No, you'd never be able to trust any new people. That's for sure. And any of like the friends that you had that are trying to like either gain fame or popularity or money off of you would it would ruin that dynamic.
Yeah, it would just be like constant paranoia. Like it'd be like winning the lottery, and then like I mean, I don't think like my situation, I'm lucky. I wouldn't have any concerns about my family or anything, or like my family or my close friends. But like, it's like people always say. It's like now you have to be worried about. You can't tell your family or your friends that you've won the lottery because now that's all you are to them. It's just a piggy
Yeah,
bank.
you're just a piggy bank, which is fine. I wouldn't mind being a piggy bank, at least for a little bit.
I wouldn't mind being a piggy bank if like they were like, hey, like I'm still very much your friend. I'm still here for you, but also like, please pay for my meals. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that's okay. I'm willing to share the wealth. I'm willing to like to help out. But
yeah, yeah. For the family, yeah. I mean, pay off the house, pay off the cars, do all the very nice things for the family. Um,
I've got one for you.
okay, let's hear it.
It's
I'm plugging. I had to grab my laptop charger.
okay. Would you rather
Go
go through a week like let's make it a
ahead.
month. Let's make it a month. A month
Okay.
of just excruciating pain. Where like it's like some recovery from some injury. Like you get injured, it's recovery, and it's just unbearable pain for all 24/7 for an entire month. You
Yeah.
can't sleep or whatever. Um, or 3 years of like a minor inconvenience. But like it's not the same inconvenience. This is something you get used to, right? It's like every single day it's something different. So it's like, one day you have a pebble in your shoe that like you just can't get out. One day
hmm
your car just won't start the entire day. One day, so like
hmm
3 years of just like the worst luck you can possibly have, minus like real bodily injury, just something in your eye you can't get out, a cough that won't go away for 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Give me the 3 years. Give me the prolonged suffering. Because I've had 10 out of 10 pain before, and like it was getting to the point where I'm just like, I think I need to chop off my leg to make this pain feel better. Um, and that was only for like a couple days. And I've had like minor aches and pains throughout like most of my teenage and adult life, just through like playing sports. Um,
Okay, what
I
about
think I could handle
what about
uh,
20 years?
20 years. Are we talking on like a pain scale 0 to 10? What are we talking?
It's like, but it wouldn't be like a physical, like always a physical thing, right? Like I said,
Yeah.
sometimes it's, oh, your car won't start. Sometimes it's you're locked out of your house for the entire day. Like it's it's
Like you,
just
you
like,
like kind of like a born unlucky type of
yeah,
thing.
like you basically just have like kind of a kind of a bad day. No, not a terrible day, not like the worst day ever, but like you don't really have a great day for the next 10, let's say 10 years. 10 years is more palatable.
10 years, not really a great day for 10 years. Will like the day be like 90% great, and then there's just like something in the middle of the day just kind of like ruins it?
No,
Or
it's like the entire day, like you'll have a small inconvenience that will like affect you all day. So you can do whatever
oh,
else you want with your day, but like for example, you have a normal day at work or whatever, but like
mhm.
you can't breathe through your nose one day because it's just so clogged up, like the entire day. The next day, it's like you've got just something in your eye the entire day, and like no matter how much you blink or try to wash it out, it won't go away.
uh, yeah, 10 years is a long time. I'll do the month. I'll be tortured for a month.
That's kind of what. Without saying that, I was like, I said excruciating pain, but like my original one when I thought it up, I was like torture. I was like a month of
Yeah,
torture.
I mean that's what it would be. It would be a month of torture. Um, yeah, I'd probably choose that. If like 3 years, I think I could handle just like minor inconveniences that ruin my day every single day. But yeah, 10 years. That's a long time. That's a really long time.
Yeah, I
What
think I'd
about
say the
you?
same for like if it was like 3 years, I think I would choose the 3 years. Like 10 years, I'd be like, I'd rather just be in excruciating pain for a month to get it out of the way.
hmm
Because I feel like it also like in that situation, it would preclude you from like you kind of just have your normal luck. You're back to normal after that,
Yeah,
and
you're basically just like in the hospital for a month. You're just in 10 out of 10 pain. Nobody knows what's going on, and then you have a miracle doctor comes in, gives you the magic potion, and then you feel better. Um, yeah, good. Okay, this one. Would you rather know the exact moment your soulmate dies, or the exact moment you meet them, but not who they are?
I feel like it'd be the exact moment I meet them, right? Like I feel
Okay.
like having that confirmation would be better because also like it's I mean, it's kind of counter to the one we had before, where it was like, would you rather know how you die or when you die? Where like then I would know
Mhm.
when I die. I'd rather know when I die. But like, if it's, I would rather know that they're my soulmate rather than be like, I might meet someone someday and I don't know who it is. But every single person I'm thinking, I'm like, you might have 10 years left. It's like every single
Yeah,
person I
yeah.
meet
You're
for the
just
rest of my
thinking
life.
about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're just thinking about it the entire time. Um, okay, if you were to if you were to know the exact moment you meet them, would you tell them?
I feel like if so I was thinking I was like if you tell someone this you're like hey by the way I made this deal with the devil back in
No, no, it doesn't
2025.
have to do that. It could be like as simple as like I opened up a fortune cookie and it said, "Go to the spot on this date. You'll find the love of your life."
I would tell them. I think if they're your soulmate, I feel like that would be like a that'd be something that wouldn't scare them off. Because I feel
Yeah,
like normally if you were like, hey, like by the way, I know you're my soulmate, that might not go over well with
yeah,
most
yeah,
partners. But I feel
yeah,
like if they're your soulmate, that would work. I feel like I'd
yeah.
wait though. I feel like I'd wait like a year at least.
A year, your 1 year anniversary. You're just like, hey, by the way,
Because it can't be
I'm only with you because this fortune cookie told me to.
because it can't be like your first date, right? You can't be like, hey, I'm Dave, like nice to meet you. Like you trying to grab coffee? Oh, by the
You're my
way, like
soulmate.
you're my
I love
soulmate.
you.
I love you.
Let's get married.
Uh, there's one. Um, so I kind of built this off of Dave and I watched Friendship, the movie with Tim Robinson,
Oh,
and
I watched that.
oh,
It's
you
a good
did.
movie.
So he
Yeah, yeah,
so in the movie he started Would You Rather. You remember like near the end he started a Would You Rather,
yeah.
and I was like I'm trying to think of a way to like. So in the Would You Rather he started he was like oh would you rather do stand up for your dad for a full year like every single day for a full year, and he never
Mhm.
finished it. So I was like all right what would be a comparable trade off? So what would you rather do stand up for your dad like just a single room an hour set every single day for a year?
An hour set? What?
Yeah. Or would you rather have like an hour of you bombing a stand-up set? Like let's say like at a comedy club, an hour of that, but it's posted on the internet and like and it goes viral. Right? Like I'm talking like tens of millions of views. And that's what like in everyone you meet in the future will be like, "Oh, you're the guy who like everyone you meet will have seen that video."
Yeah, pass. We'll just go with my dad. my, my dad for sure. I can just work on one act for a year straight.
I'm not saying at that rate,
He
you'd
would
probably
get
get
really
pretty good.
annoyed.
You'd probably get really good.
You would get really good. I think the person watching would get rather bored though, so they'd probably be doing something else. They'd probably give you like constructive criticism for like the first 10 times, but then the other 355 days of the year, they're probably just like scrolling through the phone, just
Yeah.
waiting for it to be over.
I don't know. I feel like that would be such like a bad experience. Like that would be such just a bad experience for me. I would almost rather be like the next, everyone I meet for the rest of my life, be like, hey, you had that really bad set. I saw it, and you're like, you're not funny. I feel like I'd almost rather that. I do very poor. I do better with like public embarrassment than I do with like just self shame. I feel like like the sense of just
Yeah,
internal shame that like I keep to myself. I'm like, hey, I had to do stand up for my dad for a year, and it went terribly every single day. That would be
but
worse to
that's
me than.
every but that's everybody's first impression of you. Good luck digging yourself out of that hole. Everybody knows you as the bad stand-up guy.
Hmm, it's a tough one. I think
Yeah,
I'd
good
still
luck.
choose
Good
the.
luck. Good luck going on dates.
But I feel like you could
I'm
parlay
sure.
it. You could parlay it into like a funny joke. But I guess if but I guess if the yeah if the thought of like if you were to go into a date with a girl and like you had seen the girl do like an hour of just like the worst stand up you've ever seen,
Yeah,
I feel like every time they told a joke, you'd be like, ugh.
like this isn't great. This isn't great. It's a terrible crime. This is a Tim Dillon quote. Tim Dillon was talking about. He's like one of the worst offenses that anybody could ever commit would be an unfunny person trying to be funny. It's a
So
crime against humanity.
so in both situations, are we just assuming you're just unfunny? Like you're unfunny no matter what, but like either
No, I'm
everyone knows
assuming
it or
like
you're,
if I'm practicing with my dad, I'm assuming I would get pretty good eventually, and I feel like I could parlay that into like at least showing up at comedy shows and doing okay.
yeah. You might find a
I
new
would be
career
like,
in that.
no, here's what it would be. I would be Bert Kreischer. I would have one a really good story. His machine story is pretty good, and then that's your entire career. You can only use that. You have one really good story that you can tell, and that's
I would
it.
hate to be Bert Kreischer. I like someone showed me the machine. I was like, it was like not a bad story. But then
Yeah,
like every single time, like I think I saw a second video of him, and it was like a
yeah,
different venue telling the same story. I'm like, all right, this story to me, honestly, it wasn't even that funny. Like the first time,
yeah,
it's like now
yeah,
it's really not funny.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's one of
So it's like,
I'm gonna be honest, he's one of my least favorite stand-up comedians. I find guys like I think Shane Gillis is funny. Tom
yeah,
Segura out of the two of them, like Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer. Tom Segura is actually funny to me.
yeah,
Bert
yeah, yeah,
Kreischer is not.
yeah. No, I'm with you. Yeah, Bert's he's interesting. I wouldn't want his career, but I think it would be better than like. Do you know who Brendan Schaub is?
Per the name.
Okay, so he was a UFC fighter that got brought up by Rogan. He was kind of in that Rogan sphere. He's got the most appearances on the Joe Rogan
Oh,
podcast,
I have seen this
and then
guy's
he
face.
he turned into a stand up comedian. He has the lowest two comedy stand ups of all time. He's just like known as being a bad comic. So like the debate is, do you want to be Bert Kreischer, who has like one semi okay story, or do you want to be Brendan Schaub?
I feel like also Brendan Schaub kind of got set up for failure then because I find Joe Rogan's stand up to be absolutely heinous. I think like
It's terrible. It's
he
terrible.
has the worst stand up of any stand. Like I tried to watch it once. Like I've tried to watch one set
Yeah.
of his, and I like me and you are both into stand up. I couldn't finish it. I was like, this is so
Yeah.
unfunny, brutally
No,
unfunny.
Joe Rogan's done a really cool thing where he's just surrounded himself by better comics than himself, and he just bounces his thoughts and ideas off of them, and he tries to appear funny, but he's not.
I, yeah, he's so unfunny to me. Like it actually annoyed me thinking of his stand up just now. That's how bad it is.
Yeah, like I'm not watching stand up anymore because of how bad he is.
All right, I've got one more in me.
Okay,
Um,
let's do one more. Let's finish off strong.
so it's I guess a little more philosophical, but I got it from a it was kind of a trolley problem. Um, but it's basically would you rather like I guess kill someone, but like commit a crime that like you think personally is like the worst crime you could commit, right? So let's say it's murder. Let's say it's murder of like an inherently just innocent person. Would you rather commit
Mhm.
the crime, but afterwards you don't have any memory of it and you don't ever know it happened and that person's dead? Or would you rather not and for the rest of your life be haunted by the fact that like you think you did?
Ooh, that's good. I think that's more complicated than the trolley problem.
Yeah, yeah. It was like a play. It was like a play off the trolley problem, I think.
Oh
But
gosh, you didn't, but you're guilty, or you did. Ooh, it's hard because like objectively with one, you did do something wrong, but you have no memory of it, and so you just go about your life in peace and in bliss. And the other, you're just always paranoid that you did. Oh, I may have accidentally ran over that person on the road, but I don't know if I did or not.
oh no, it's not paranoid. You fully believe you did. You fully believe you're guilty of it, and you like you think about that person and the crime you committed.
Oh gosh. For my own well-being, selfishly, I'm gonna go with. Um, oh, and who is the person? Is it somebody close to me, or is it just like a stranger?
No, it's a stranger, but like they did no wrong. This was like an unprovoked, like this was an innocent, just an innocent person. Honestly, it was a stranger that showed you kindness, and then you just killed him.
Oh no. Uh, um, Maybe this is my narcissism coming out, but I don't want to be affected by it, so I'm gonna kill somebody and not and not remember it. I don't want to be personally affected for the rest of my life,
Especially
thinking
for a
and
crime you
convinced that
didn't
I
do.
did something.
Yeah, especially
Yeah.
for a crime you didn't do. I feel like I would also lean. lean that way. Um,
Are we messed up? Are we saying that we're killers, we're murderers, Dave?
I think so. So it kind of comes to actually, this is I don't know how long this will make our conversation, but let's see. All right, I guess we'll gloss over this real quick. I just want to get your input. This thought that I heard there's a guy what's his name? Alex. I need to look this up. Alex
Like,
O'Connor,
okay.
and he does like philosophical stuff. He like he does a lot of like theistic conversations too. To be like
Hmm.
him talking to a theist and like them having debates. And I've liked his videos a lot. Um,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen this guy. I have a bunch of videos. He's
yeah,
26. Wow, he's young.
yeah. But he had a point that like actually rung pretty true was he was saying he doesn't believe in altruism, like that altruism doesn't exist. And when he went over it, I was like, so kind of in context with that question, that's kind of the same thought I had. It's like no good act is truly like unselfish. I mean, and basically he had
Mhm.
like the example of like, oh, if someone runs into a burning building to save a child, and they say, oh, like I had to do it because like I could never live with the fact that I didn't do it and I could have. That's like selfishly motivated because he didn't want to like have to live with that, right? So like,
Yeah.
do you think that true altruism, like for pure unselfish altruism, exists? Or and I don't think it's a bad thing if it doesn't, right? Like, I think like if you're saying, for example, if you want the best for your friends, or like if I'm like I want this person to succeed, I don't, but like it's from a selfish thing of like I want to be surrounded by, and I'm not saying this is the reason, but
Successful
like
people. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it can truly exist because there are people that will donate to charities and they won't give their name and they'll just donate hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars and it'll be from an unknown donor. They don't want any of the credit, but they had the ability to do so. I feel like scenarios like that can show true altruism.
but to
Where it's
play
like
devil's
nobody
advocate,
knows.
what if that was like to because they had the capability, that was to ease their guilty conscience of like not helping when they could.
Or they could just do it because they had the means to do it. You could have a uber rich person that's just like, I've got $10 million to throw away. Might as well help somebody with it.
Yeah, I think it could. I think like part of me wants to say that most things are selfishly motivated, but like I guess I wouldn't say that's like a negative, right? Like I don't think it's all of those selfish internal motivations are a negative inherently.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I think that example shows like yeah, like I think if I were to put myself in those shoes, and I was like, hey, like I wouldn't feel guilty if I didn't help this person, but I really want to. Like
yeah.
even if would you say that the motivation to make yourself feel like you're helping that's selfish at all, or is that altruism? Like if that's your only
Ooh,
reason.
that's a good question. Like to feel like you're making an impact. I feel like that would be kind of selfish, um, and not just doing it because you have a good heart. You feel like you have the capacity to make a difference. So you could feel guilty if you don't. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. I feel like if I stumbled upon a bunch of money and I donated it, I don't feel like it would be selfish. I feel like it would be just like, oh yeah, I just want to help out.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
yeah,
know. Or like if you're like just opening up the door for somebody at the grocery store, like you're not gonna really feel guilty if you didn't open up the door. You're just
that's
doing it
true.
because it was the right thing to do,
That's
or
true.
it
I
just felt like the right thing to do.
I think like the right thing to do. I think even if you wouldn't have felt guilty afterwards. Yeah, I think that's a good example. I think I think the smaller micro things, like you said, holding open the door or like returning a shopping cart. I feel like those are,
But
like
then it, but
for
then it like, but then it comes back to like, is it the right thing to do because that's what we were taught it was the right thing to do, and then you would subconsciously feel guilty if you were breaking like the social norm of that situation.
maybe like the definition
Because
of
like, what if you were
altruism.
taught what if you were taught all your life to be like, oh yeah, you open the door for strangers. That's what you do. and so it's become, and it's gotten ingrained in your system, so where it becomes a habit, and then the time that you don't do it, you might feel a little guilty because you've been trained to think like, oh, this is what you're supposed to do.
But I feel like if we were to take that out of account, right? Like if we were to say like you don't have any preconceptions, you just thought like you've thought it through yourself, and you've been like, oh, it would make this person's life a little easier if I opened the door for them, or if I held the elevator open for them, or if I returned the shopping cart. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that could be considered altruism. I feel like maybe also I had a bad definition of altruism in my mind. That might
Mm-hmm.
also be it. Like I don't think because in that case, if your motivation is like just to make someone else's life a little easier, and yeah, I think I'm coming around. Every time we talk, I think I get less jaded. I think I get less cynical because at first I was like altruism doesn't exist. It's purely selfish. But yeah, I think that example, like the small kindnesses that just make someone's life a little easier,
Yeah.
like without because yeah, like I don't hold doors open for gratitude, right? I
Yeah.
don't.
Or if you just like strike up a conversation with somebody that you don't know and they tell you a little bit about like their life history and you're like somewhat interested in what they're hearing and they're getting a lot more joy from like saying what they're talking about as opposed to you just like listening. Um, I don't know. I feel like altruism definitely exists. I mean, because like it's like saying, um, I mean, I guess we could bring it back to like the free will, I guess, but and like the thought of like good and evil. But like if altruism doesn't exist, then like true good also doesn't exist, and I don't think that's true.
I agree. I think you've convinced me. I believe in altruism.
Yeah,
I believe in the good of man.
yeah, I do too. But I'm also just I come from a very biased perspective where I'm overly optimistic about most things. So I don't know. I like to think there's good people out there doing things unselfishly.
It's funny because I feel like I always tried to sway you towards my decision or like pull you towards me, but I feel like in our talks about these things, I feel like I always go towards your side now.
You do. You do. Very early on, you always tried to sway me, and then now it's like now that we've gotten older, it's just like you'll come in more cynical, and I'll be like, "Hey, how about this?" And you're like, "Wait, dang, that's a good point.
Man,
Didn't
believing
think
in
about it
the
from that angle before."
believing in the inherent goodness in people makes you a better person,
Yeah,
I guess. It's nice.
maybe. I don't know, or at least I like to think so. Maybe that's selfish of me. I don't know.
That is selfish, Luke. That's I
I know.
that's a you're a bad person for wanting
I
people to be
know.
good.
I'm a terrible person. Um. Anyways, any thoughts to wrap it up on this Father's Day podcast?
No, I'm thinking about posting these more often a little bit. Maybe every 3 weeks,
Okay.
So we're
Yeah.
getting a little more routine. Starting to fit these in a little more, even though we're both working. So I think we can.
I mean, I've got more routine. I've got my weekends are typically free unless I'm traveling somewhere. But I mean, I'm traveling here soon, and I kind of would want to do like a cruise pod.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down to see what you're like 15 drinks in. It's been a long time since I've seen you like that. So,
It's been a long time since I've been like that. I don't even know what I'm like anymore. You're just gonna see me just buzzing off of 15 coffees, just
or
shaking the entire time, having minor panic attacks.
we have to do two podcasts. We'll split it up into like 2 hours. The first hour we release will be you on 15 coffees. The next one will be you on
Mhm.
15 alcoholic beverages, and like we'll just one of them you'll just be buzzing and talking the entire hour, and the next it'll just you be passed out and I'll just be talking at a corpse, basically,
And then I wake up every now and again, say a bad word, and then go back to bed,
just like college.
just like college, just like the good old days.
All right, you got any final thoughts?
Nope, that's it. Yeah, this was illogically ignorant. Uh, hopefully, you didn't mind our rambling today and our fun points of conversation. And see you guys again next time.
Later.